Alright, hey everyone, here is how I made 2 variations of the pattern Tiffany Noel by Bonnie Blue Designs. It is a super easy pattern to follow, and I just love the cut of it for a little girl's dress. And yes, I am doing this voiceover with the kiddos, so you may hear them in the background. Alright, so first you'll cut out 2 front pieces on the fold and 4 of those back pieces. And a friendly reminder, if you are working with a geometric pattern like I am, be sure to cut them out so the pattern will line up at the shoulder and side seams as applicable. Then you'll have 2 waistbands, and then you'll have 2 sleeves. And honestly, both of my sleeves and waistbands are a few inches short, since this is a fabric that's been in my stash forever and not exactly ordered for this, dress in particular. But I have been trying to use up my stash lately, so I am making it work. Yeah, Henry. I did notch where the middle of the sleeves is though, and finally, whatever skirt pieces you'd like to use, I just ripped 2 pieces of the 60-inch wide cotton batiste to length. I'm going to use the entire dimension of 120 inches to go around the waist. And the distance that I ripped will be the length of the skirt. Now keep in mind to account whatever hem treatments you have planned when figuring out this dimension for yourself. I mean, if you decide to waver from the skirt's pattern. Of course, you could also just use the patterned skirt. Anywho, so to begin, you'll first sew the front and back pieces together at the shoulder seams. Go ahead and iron those seams open. And you can repeat the same thing for the lining, joining those pieces at the shoulder seams. Next, I took the sleeves and folded them in half, using those notches to help me line things up. Then I ran 2 rows of gathered stitches along that long raw edge of the sleeve. If you've seen my other videos, you know the drill by now. The idea is that you'll place 1 row on either side of where those permanent stitches will go later on. And having 2 rows of gathered stitches really helps, really helps to keep your gathers from going crooked on you when you sew over top of them. Then I gather at that sleeve, and I'm pushing my gathers towards the middle of the sleeve, just kind of a personal preference here. But it is sewing, you do you. Now an alternative is to take some of this loose edging, run 2 rows of gather stitches and pin that to the bodice, kind of angling off as you get to the bottom. And this will leave you with a really pretty flutter sleeve look. Regardless, match the raw edges of the sleeve with the raw edge of the top and sew the 2 together. Then you're going to keep that sleeve laying on top of the bodice and put the lining of the bodice right on top of everything with right sides together. You've basically made yourself a sleeve sandwich. And y'all, I was about 4 months postpartum here with all sorts of prego, mommy brain, all that jazz. So I decided to fold up this edge, but do not do that. Leave both of them down. I just wanted to show you my mistake so you understand why I had this lovely gap later on. But yeah, do not do this, okay? What you will do is sew down each of those sleeve edges, as well as from one center back around the neckline down the other center back. And lucky me, I gained a little helper. So I went straight down those sleeve seams, and then when I went around the neckline and I got to a corner, I put my needle down, raised my presser foot, turned the corner, and continued sewing. And here we go from the 2-year-old to the newborn. It's like magic. Anywho, I clipped into those corner areas as well as clipped the corners on those back bodice pieces. I'm also trimmed up the sleeve seam. And then I turned everything right sides out by pulling the back bodice section through the front bodice section. And from there, I gave everything a really good ironing and moved on to the skirt. Now to begin the skirt, I put a placket down the center back of the skirt. And I have 2 methods on how to do this. Both are linked down below. Then I sewed the back of the skirt and front of the skirt together at both side seams using French seams, and I have a detailed video on how to do French seams that is linked below. Then I gathered at the top of the skirt using 2 rows of gather threads. Now, before I could attach the skirt to the bodice, I had to sew the waistband into place. To do this, I fold one of the waistbands in half and then in half again. After I ironed over that, I roughly had where the center front of the waistband as well as marks for where those sleeve side seams should go. This is just a little trick that helps me evenly distribute everything. So I put the bodice right sides together with the waistband and sewed that in place. Then I took the other waistband, folded and ironed that bottom edge under, and placed it on top of the bodice/waistband combo, kind of making another sandwich, and sewed that in place. I sewed from one back edge of the waistbands around the entire bodice edge and down the other back edge of the waistbands. After trimming up that seam, I turned right sides out and gave it a good ironing. And yep, those little gaps. I have 2 words for those gaps. Postpartum hormones, okay? Anywho, life goes on. Then I pinned the skirt to the waistband, only the outside of the waistband, so not the lining side of the waistband. I like to pin both ends first, then I match the center front of the skirt to the center front of the waistband and adjust from there. And I just sew the 2 together, making sure to keep the lining of the waistband away from that seam. And again, I gained some help. So far, she seems to be having fun sewing, but it is definitely not something I'm going to push. So anywho, the last thing you have left is the hem. The pattern comes with these curves for a Madeira hem, and you can definitely use them. Sorry, Audrey is playing in the bathroom. And honestly, I would use them if I didn't have this smocking blocking board with these curves on the back. Now, it is linked below. I know it's a tad on the pricey side, but it is so helpful. And I do prefer using this iron board since it has a grid, and you can iron on top of it, and you can even push your pins right into it. So I use this friction heat-activated pin, also linked below. After lining up my raw edge of the skirt to the desired grid line on the board, I picked a curve, one that looked good to me, and traced over top of it. And I just kept tracing until I went all the way around the skirt. And I did get lucky here, and they matched up quite evenly. Now, if I didn't get so lucky though, I would just adjust the last couple of curves, like maybe shorten them or lengthen them a little bit, whatever made most sense in that situation, and then it won't be so noticeable. Remember, this is a gathered skirt, okay? It's not going to be that noticeable. So I do have a detailed video on Madeira hems that is linked below, but basically the short version is I folded the raw edge up so that it was just past the trace curve and pinned that in place. Then I sewed a short straight stitch over that trace curve, and then I trimmed away the excess and went over that edge with a zigzag using pink thread. I just thought the pink thread there was like a neat little touch. Oh, you have yourself toothpaste. What are you brushing your teeth with? Alright, it was her toothpaste. She just got a really good lather going. I was confused. She doesn't usually get that good of a lather. Anywho, where was I? I just think this pink thread was a really cute little touch. So after that, I put some snaps in the back, although you could use buttons instead. And then I had myself a finished dress. Yeah, so we hope this video was helpful, guys. If you have any questions, please leave them in comments below, and I will do my best to answer them. And as always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and I hope to catch y'all next time.